Okay, so I'm going to very shortly give you a few words of advice on being successful in grad school. How many of you already have a master's degree? Raise your hand in the room. Okay, so we've got many of you that have been through this experience. I actually have my bachelor's and master's in psychology, and now I'm pursuing my doctorate in higher ed on all the dissertation. So I do want to tell you all in higher education. So words of advice is definitely get to know one another and lean on each other. Because it's going to get you through the program to develop those real strong connections with those that are doing similar good work to what you're doing in education. I mean, education is the way forward, in my opinion, to everything. It's progress. This is fully why I've chosen this field. And so when I look at all of you in the room, I'm like, I know you're going to make a difference in children's lives and adults' lives. It's really important. But we have to lean on each other and make those connections with each other across universities, across different school districts. And so please keep in mind that peer support is very important. So we want to build more of that community here at ULR in our college. So I welcome you all to join in helping with that mentor process. Get to know your faculty, because I know typically with my cohort in my doctoral program, we tended to go to each other first before we would ever go to a faculty member. And so sometimes actually getting it from the horse's mouth, like talking to faculty and using them as a resource to really work through issues, especially if you're like, I'm really having a hard time with this writing assignment. And before you get into that situation where you're like, oh my gosh, my paper's due tomorrow, really get their guidance ahead of time and utilize their office hours in order to help you before you get to that midterm where you're like, I'm in over my head now. And so we want, and I know we tend to talk to undergraduates about this, but I think it doesn't matter where you are in the educational pipeline, it's important to utilize the resources that you have. How many of you have a parking permit already? Anyone? So we can kind of walk through, if you have questions, and I'm not going to go over specifics on parking, but if you have questions about how to get your parking permit and how to get your ID. How many have ordered books so far? Anyone ordered books? Okay. So you can order most of your books online, so it's really important to know that you have resources here. You can work out for free in the recreation center, so I totally encourage you to make sure that you are healthy, both mind, body, and soul. So it's very important that you utilize, you can utilize the gym here, or make sure you find time in your schedule to ensure that you're getting the type of physical health to keep going throughout. How many of you are going to be working full time while you're going through your programs? Raise your hand high. So it's really important to have balance and make sure you're able to juggle a lot. And I understand, I'm there right now, I'm juggling a lot, and I understand how important it is to keep physically and mentally healthy. I also encourage you to develop your social support systems, meaning your friends and family members. Make sure they're aware of what you're going through and get them on your side to support you through the process. I actually do research on Latinas in graduate programs, and one of the things that we found in our research is that the more supportive that students bring their families in to help them through that process and kind of understand what you're going through, the more likely they are to succeed in complete programs. So I think it's very important that you make sure that you have everyone on board and on your side for that. I'm going to conclude my comments because I would like Dana Steele to come up and talk from the graduate school. But I do want to let you know we'll have some time for questions, so if you have any questions, we'll try our best. And then we do have time in the schedule for breakout sessions. So if you'd rather meet in a more informal type atmosphere with faculty, besides the networking piece earlier, then we'll have time to answer those questions. So anyway, thank you all. And Dana,